Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity. I'm Reverend Marla Mason. I am your minister and so grateful to serve this morning and every day of my life in service to the greater idea that there is something wonderful happening all the time. We belong to that wonder. We belong to the infinite presence that we call God, and it is ever calling us forth into a fuller and greater expression. And coming together in spiritual community is just a part of that, being supported on the spiritual journey. We are here to wake up to the truth of our being, and from that place be agents of transformation in the world. That's what we're about here at Unity. We have three kind of main tools we use, or main principles we use. We love God and we love one another. We grow our spiritual understanding and we serve the greater good from this place. That's what we're doing every single day in our spiritual community. This month, we're talking about going further together. What does it mean to really come together as a community so that we can go further? Because we know that alone we can go faster, right? I can go real fast alone. I don't get the same results and I don't get as far. And so, what does it mean to be in community with one another? So, that's our conversation this month. Welcome to that conversation and welcome to Unity. We have a number of folks in service to our community this morning. First, let me acknowledge our meditation facilitator, Lynn Zeller. Thank you, Lynn. That was a terrific meditation this morning. If you are not participating in the meditation service, please consider doing that. It's at 10 a.m. every Sunday, and it really is a spiritually deep and enriching experience. Thank you, Lynn, for providing that today. We also have this morning prayer chaplains Lynn Zeller, once again, and Lori Coleman serving us in consciousness today. Grateful to have you in prayerful presence with us. And our board host today is Sharon Wolf. She is a board member at large, and she is anchoring the business of our center this morning, and you will hear from her later as part of our offering. Monica McDowell Elvig is our producer, our center administrator, and our everything this morning and every morning. Thank you, Monica, for your service to this community. And finally, this morning anyway, our guest artist today is Christina Brewer. Christina has visited our community a number of times in person. I love her. I love her energy. She is a singer. She wears many, many hats. We have not had Christina with us since we've been online. So it's kind of like welcoming an old friend home. Happy to have you with us this morning, Christina. What do you have for us?
Thank you. This first song is Testify to Love. Oh, hold on. Let's do that again. All the colors of the rainbow, all the voices of the wind, every dream that reaches out to find where love begins. Every word of every story, every star in every sky, every corner of creation lives to testify. For as long as I shall live, I will testify to love. I'll be a witness in the silence when the words are not enough. With every breath I take, I will give thanks to God above. For as long as I shall live, I will testify to love. From the mountain to the valley, from the river to the sea, every hand that reaches out to finally offer peace. Every simple act of mercy, every step to kingdom come, all the hope in every heart will speak what love
And so let's breathe in that energy of love, that energy of living something larger than we are as we anchor in the infinite mind and heart of God. For we know that there is only one life, one power, one presence. That is the life and the power and the presence of God as love. And we know that this love is what breathes us, it's what moves us, it's what beats our very hearts. It is what calls us to be fuller expressions of itself as love. And so we open our hearts and our minds this morning to the power of love, to the power of spiritual community to awaken us to the truth of who we are. We are vibrations of yes. As we listen, as we deepen, as we grow in our spiritual understanding today, so that we may testify to love, to something greater than we are. We may live a life of love. And so I give thanks for this holy and sacred time. I give thanks for the deepening that is taking place here today. And I open this gathering with a grateful heart, calling it good and very, very good. And so it is. Amen. I'm going to read through today's affirmation once. As I read it, I invite you to just own these words, begin to let them permeate the truth of your being. Spiritual ears wide open. Wherever I am a presence of divine love. We are the stuff of spirit itself. As we go and grow further together, we create a world that works for everyone. And so it is. Breathe that in and own it. And now I invite you to say these words aloud with me and with conviction. Wherever I am a presence of divine love. We are the stuff of spirit itself. As we go and grow further together, we create a world that works for everyone. And so it is.
So this song, the first time I sang this song, I was 8 years old. And I was in a costume, and it had, because it's got some other pieces of other languages in it. It's called Love in Any Language. And so they had me in this little costume that had little braids. It was, yeah.
I love you. The sounds are all as different as from which the lands that came. And though our words are all unique, our hearts are still the same. Love in any language, straight from the heart, pulls us all together, never apart. And once we learn to speak it, all the world will hear. Love in any language, fluently spoken here. We teach the young our differences, yet look how we're the same. We love to laugh, to dream our dreams. We know the sting of pain. From Leningrad to Lexington, the farmer, he loves his land. And daddies all get misty-eyed to give their daughters hand. Oh, maybe when we realize just how much there is to share, we'll find too much in common to pretend it isn't there. Love in any language, straight from the heart, pulls us all together,
Oh, blessings and so much gratitude, Christina. It feels like it's been a long time, and I'm really happy to hear you and to see your face and to welcome you into the spirit of this community. Thank you for anchoring us this morning so beautifully in the consciousness of love. The consciousness of love, that's what we're about, right? We're about learning to love more fully. We're about learning to love from the true source of our being, to duplicate the nature of spirit, which is love. We are here to awaken, to love, to greater beingness. Unity is a spiritual community in which we are dedicated to waking up. We provide a spiritual home for people who wish to experience powerful inspiration, for people who wish to experience deep support and profound personal transformation in their lives and in the world. We do that in loving spiritual community, in awakening spiritual community, in spiritual community that is present to something greater than we are. And as we do that, we have a greater idea that we can take that new way of being in our personal lives, in our personal consciousness, and transform the world, make the world a place for everyone. And when I think about a better place for everyone, and when I think about that work and how profound that work has been over the last number of years, it's actually a total of 5.5 years now that I've been with you all. The first 1.5 years as an associate minister, and the last 4 as your senior minister, I recognize that you have dedicated your time, your talent, your treasure, your consciousness to this vision, to this purpose. And it is profoundly rewarding to me to realize that, that dedication that you have exhibited has been to the idea. Even when we think it's to something else, it really is to the idea, to that deep call of spirit that says, yes, express me more fully, own the spiritual truth of you more completely. And this idea is the idea that is the healing energy for the world. We've been lifting our vibration little by little for, many, many years as a spiritual community. I'm actually, I think like 70 years almost now, 68 years as a spiritual community. And so it's in this awareness that I've been being very, very present to this week in particular, that I'm going to communicate to you some news. And that news is that I am retiring from ministry. And that's hard news for me to share. It's bittersweet news for me to hold in my heart. And yet it is the right thing to do. It is the right thing for me, and it is the right thing for this community. I have served in ministry for many years now, and it is time. Some of you know that I have been experiencing some personal and some family matters in the realm of effect, right? It's all in the realm of effect. It's not in consciousness, although consciousness is cause, right? And so I know that the work belongs in consciousness, and yet it is in the realm of effect that I am experiencing these things, and these things are calling for my full attention. And I have to answer that call. It's time for me to answer that call and devote more of my time to be present to those matters. I want you to know that as a minister and as a human being, this has actually been about the most difficult decision. It's right up there in the top 3 of difficult decisions I've had to make in my life. And yet, a consciousness of prayer, reflection, spiritual practice has led me here. It has led me to this decision. And when it was finally made, although it feels bittersweet in so many ways, the truth always sets us free. Some part of me began to lift and to embrace a greater sense of freedom in my heart. So, yes. I am retiring from ministry somewhere around the end of this year. A precise date hasn't been set, because your board and staff who know about this decision, I first communicated this to the board about not quite 2 weeks ago, and the board has met several times in that time to begin to formulate a transitional plan. And Susan Neidig is going to come on here in a little bit and communicate some of that plan to you. So your board and staff support this decision. They know what's going on. You're going to hear more from Susan. But I forget, I started that thing somewhere. And you know what I know is your board and your staff and you, I know you lovingly support me. Now, there are a few things I want to talk about, and then I want to get back to who we are. The first thing I want to talk about is how do we navigate this transition together? How do we do this in a way that is loving, healthy, anchored in the spiritual principles that we teach? And I just want to remind you right out of the box that something you already know, and I already know this too, but I have to be reminded all the time. So if you're like me, maybe you need to be reminded all the time too. The first thing is the work always begins in consciousness. As we begin to walk this path of transition together, join me in planting seeds of divine love, infinite wisdom, that we may be guided, that we may walk in grace as we define the steps and effortlessly and lovingly know what is ours to do, and more importantly, what is ours to be as we open our hearts to the possibility of this time in the life of this community. Also be aware, and as I said, Susan is going to talk a little bit later about some of the details, but we are in touch with Unity Worldwide Ministries about this transition. And so we are supported, not just like here and not just by the Infinite, but we are also supported by our parent organization, Unity Worldwide Ministries. So as we do this work together, as we anchor in our purpose of awakening to the truth of who we are, and then being agents of further awakening globally, worldwide, we have an opportunity to be a certain way as we make this change. And I want to remind you of what I said up front this morning. Alone we go faster, together we go further. This is a time to come together like we never have before as a spiritual community so that we can fully capitalize on this opportunity. And when I think of our purpose of spiritual awakening in spiritual community, in order to be agents of greater global spiritual awakening and change, I think of the deep connection that we have to one another. I opening my heart more fully to the first two unity principles. Who knows the first unity principle? Shorthand, God is all there is, right? One thing happening. Second principle, we are one with it. We are having our being in that presence. We cannot be separate from something that is everything. We cannot be outside of God because God is infinite, and by definition, nothing can be outside of infinity because it is infinity. That's what it is. And so there is one thing happening, and we are in the body of that one. And I have been in this week, as in my spiritual practice, I have begun to get just a little bit of a different tilt on what that means. And I believe I'm ready to shift my languaging about this principle just a little bit from God is all there is and I am one with God to I am, I live, move, have my being. We, the collective, lives, moves, has its being as one entity. One entity. Not, see, there's even some belief in separation implied in how we language the first two principles. It's not one principle, it's two principles, right? God is all there is, and I am one with God. That sounds like two things, doesn't it? And I've been saying that for 25 years. And it suddenly dawned on me this week, I language it as though it were two things. When what I'm really trying to say is that I move as part of the infinite being. We move as part of one entity. We breathe, we live, we have our existence as part of one infinite entity. And of course, this infinite entity is diversity expressed, isn't it? This infinite entity is infinitely expressed in so many ways that are so richly and powerfully connected that we often can't even really get how richly and powerfully connected it is. In the a Wednesday group, the Living What Matters group this week, the reading referred to, and we had some conversation about connection, the idea of how connection is built into us. Human beings are built to be connected. And the author of our book in that group talks about how, you know, we, I'm not sure if he talks about it or if I thought of it. I know I talked about it on Wednesday. The image that I got of being in my mother's womb, like there is no human connection closer than that, people. Like, and we've all had that experience. Every single one of us was gestated and born, right? And so we come from that experience. We are connected so deeply because we are all nurtured in the womb. We are all born into a family, right? That's instant connection. And whether you're born into a family that, you know, you feel like really nurtures and loves you or not, you're connected to that family. We are all, you know, we grow up in community, whether we feel emotionally, mentally, spiritually connected to that community or not, the connection is there. And we are, to some degree, here at Unity, we are chosen family to some degree because we are chosen spiritual community. And it's that primal connection, I think. I just really started to think of this in a new way. It's that primal connection to something greater that for us started in the womb and maybe even before that. I don't know exactly what came before that. Other than that, we live and move and have our being in one infinite entity. That is a profound understanding. And just because we were born doesn't mean we no longer have our being in that one infinite entity. We are expressing in a different way. We are still intimately connected, whether we realize it or not, and whether we practice it or not. We cannot get away from that intimate connection that is so beautifully and so diversely expressed in the world. You know, so here we have, you know, Goddess Marla. Over here we have Goddess Susan. Down there we have Goddess Jean. But we are intimately and infinitely connected to one another. And so God is that diversity expressed in human form here in the world. And it might look like, you know, that expression might look like, you know, animals and trees and leaves and rocks and people and skin color and gender expression and sexual identity expression. It might look like body shape and size. It might look like political or religious views and beliefs. It might look like a lot of things. And yet there's this one essential, deep, powerful connection that we share. And we, as a spiritual community, have chosen to do our spiritual awakening work together here in this community. And I'm so grateful for the power and for the grace with which this community expresses. And so when I think of this infinite and intimate connection in expression in the world, I realized something about it. It is this expression of diversity that fosters evolution. Right? I mean, it's interesting because this expression is both the result of and the seed for evolution, right? You know what I'm saying? We're diverse because we have evolved. And we have evolved, different branches, if you will, of the community have evolved in different directions. And that evolution is the result of that divine expression, but it is also the seed of more diversity, more evolution. And so, although we are infinitely and intimately connected, we are programmed in our DNA to evolve, to change. That's all we do. And on a universal, infinite level, I believe that's all God does. It evolves. And as we are expressions of that universal evolution, we have our being in that one entity. And so here we are, a community, we are a living entity. This community collectively lives and moves and has its being in that mind and body of God, collectively evolving. And things like, ministers retiring, things like staff moving on, things like board turning over, things like people coming and going are just the expression of that evolutionary impulse in the mind of God to grow and evolve. And that is truly the source of what we say is our purpose of spiritual awakening, knowing more fully who we are and what we belong to, and being agents of transformation in the world requires that we evolve. And our evolution is programmed into us. That's why there's this call to something greater. And so here we are as a spiritual community with an amazing, powerful opportunity to evolve. Breathe into that for a moment. And I'm not saying don't grieve the transition. Please grieve me at least a little bit, right? I'm not saying don't grieve what feels lost in the transition. And yet at the same time, we can stand in the possibility of what is to come. And we can recognize that something greater can be served as we stand powerfully and boldly in the face of this change. So I'm inviting you to do that. I'm inviting you to recognize that the living entity in which we live and move and breathe and have our being evolves. Let's allow ourselves to duplicate that nature of God and also evolve. I believe that this community that we call Unity of Bellevue is divinely inspired. I truly do. I think those people who came together in 1959, which by the way was the year I was born, they were so clever to celebrate my birthday by founding this community. They came together with a divine idea of a spiritual community that would support this kind of evolution, this kind of spiritual awakening in the world. This community is divinely inspired. And I believe that over the years, this community has been divinely led. I believe that. And you know what? Every single minister this community has ever had has been the perfect minister for this community. I believe that. Whether you liked that person or not, whether we feel like they did a good job or not, evolution is always upward. It is always supporting us with what we need to learn, what our next step is. And so this community has been spirit-led every single step of the way, because if God is all there is, God is always providing that which is most required. And so what we have here in 2021 is a 70-some-year-old community, divinely inspired, spiritually led, and now poised to step boldly into its next opportunity to consciously evolve, to consciously evolve. And your board, your staff, your volunteers, even you, yes, even you, are called to serve this transition in consciousness and with your activity. Remember, we go further together, right? We go further together. And so what I hope is that by letting you know that I am retiring very soon, and let me just clarify that word for a second. Retiring doesn't mean going into stasis. I've always had a mixed relationship with that word because it sounds like I'm going to sit in front of the TV with the remote, and do crossword puzzles. And you know what? I may do some of that. The fact is, I don't know what's next for me. What I do know is in this realm of conditions that I talked about earlier that are really calling my attention, what is also called for is rest and reflection and spiritual practice. And what I'm recognizing is that I need more of that than I can do right now and serve you. Because unity, as I said earlier, deserves a great minister who can be 100% present to the evolution of this community. And so as I prepare myself for that time of rest and reflection and spiritual practice, and seeing to my business in the realm of form that is so powerfully calling my attention right now, I can be a guardian of the opportunity to evolve. And I do that in consciousness, right? I hold unity in highest love. I hold unity in the highest truth. It's awareness of the presence of something greater and its ability to evolve in ways that are loving and healthy and powerful and grand, and that we are ushering this community into its next step, into that which most serves this community. And as I do that, so can you. So can you, because what'll happen is we'll go further together, right? We'll go further together. It really does take a village. And so I'm inviting you into that energy. I'm inviting you into that intention, and I'm inviting you into that consciousness of loving transformation, loving, empowering transformation that lifts unity into its next great yet to be. The fact is, in the realm of form, things are changing for spiritual community. I talked about this last week. I've talked about this a number of times in a number of different venues. The culture is changing. We have to be willing to change with the culture. And I don't mean give up our principles. I don't mean change our message. I mean, how do we more and more fully evolve? How do we more and more fully embrace our principles and the things that we know, and become a vehicle and become a delivery system for those principles in a new culture? And what I know is that unity can attract exactly the right leader to, what I know is unity will attract, is already attracting exactly the right leader to usher us into that new way of being as we embrace the principles that we teach. That's the opportunity. And in order for that opportunity to become the expression, we have to recognize the perfection of this moment, embrace the wholeness of this transition, walk in love, and give still of the time and the talent and the treasure that we have given for 70 years in dedication to a greater idea. That's what we're about. I saw a meme the other week, and I posted it on my Facebook page because I thought it was so perfect. It said, the truth will set us free, but not until it's finished with us. Let me say that again. The truth will set us free, but not until it is finished with us. You see, love will set us free, but not until love is finished with us. Family will set us free, but not until it's finished with us. We have to do the work. Community will set us free, but not until it's finished with us. Life will set us free as we are willing to work through the stuff that life brings up, as we are willing to participate fully, as we are willing to consciously step into the evolution of our own lives, of our greater community, and of the planet, and therefore of that one entity in which we live and move and have our being. As we are willing to step boldly into that and work with what we are given, we are set free, no doubt. Breathe that in, breathe that out. And let's move into prayer. We share the sacred breath, even though we may appear to be separate in our separate homes, our separate locations, meeting online. We recognize and we understand that this is the illusion, and that the spiritual truth is only one thing is happening. And we share the breath of the living entity that we call God. We have our being as that one entity. And we are so infinitely and so intimately connected to it, to one another. For that power, that presence is all there is, and right where we are. We breathe into its love, and we let love have its way with us. We breathe into that grace, and we let grace have its way with us. We breathe into that something greater, and we allow it to have its way with us as we consciously evolve, as we consciously open our hearts, our minds, our very beings to the greater possibility, the profound opportunity of this moment. And so we simply breathe effortlessly and easily, allowing. And we begin to catch a vision of something greater for this community. Even as we recognize and perhaps even grieve what is lost. For what is lost is also that entity, that beingness, and can never dissipate and can never leave us. And so we acknowledge its gifts. And we begin even now to welcome a new process, a new opening, a new possibility. And so we give thanks for the awakening that is taking place even right now in our hearts as we begin to vibrate more and more fully with the awareness of the infinite presence. And we know that we carry this awakening, we carry this vibration with us now wherever we go. For the mind expanded cannot contract, the heart opened cannot close. The awareness embraced continues to grow, continues to expand, continues to evolve, for that is the nature of the living one. And so although I close this message, I open the potential and possibility of something powerfully new and beautiful for this spiritual community. I am so very grateful for this time of deepening and of opening, and I am so very grateful for that which is to come, for I know that it will have its way with us, and we already are set free. I give thanks for it all, and I simply let it go. And so it is. Amen.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us, only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you care. No greed, no hunger, a brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one.
Good morning, Unity of Bellevue. I'm Susan Neidig, your board president. As Reverend Marlin mentioned, I'm here to tell you about the board's plan to support our community through this transition, to step boldly into this opportunity. As for most of us, as for most of you will or have already, this news created a strong sense of loss for the members of the board. As we considered our future here at Unity of Bellevue without our beloved Rev Marla, it was hard at first, especially for me, to move beyond the grief and see what's mine to do to support this transition. Each of us processed this in our own way, and you can see I'm still processing. We were continue to be supported by our daily practice of meditation and prayer. And I encourage each of you to find support and love in our unity principles, your prayer partners, and your own spiritual practices. Let go and let God as you are divinely guided. In moving forward with a plan to support this transition, the board met this week with Reverend Doug Dwyer, Unity Worldwide Ministers Member Services Manager. Reverend Doug described for us the transition specialist role in supporting Unity Ministries through the process of transitioning not just to a new senior minister, but also facilitating communities through a process to reconnect to what we are about, what our vision, our mission, our identity, and our purpose for our ministry. Sorry. As we are and have been in a liminal season, a time of uncertainty, it is important for us, for all of us, to engage in this process as we move forward together. Even though the details are not finely tuned for our transition plan, we have the following major steps that we will likely move forward with. First, we will engage Unity Worldwide Ministries to identify a transition specialist as our interim minister to support us through this transition. Reverend Doug is identifying this person for us now. Second, we will engage in a contracting process with this individual to join Unity of Bellevue as our interim minister and transition specialist, and this will happen at the end of the year or the beginning of next year. The contract will start then. The exact timing to be decided and announced as soon as we know, we will tell you. Third, we will continue with our Community Connect meetings on the second Tuesday of each month for October, November, and December to provide input to that transition process. I strongly encourage you to join us, engage as a community in those meetings. This is about telling our story. This is about identifying our values and providing that information that will help our interim transitional specialist, our interim minister, help us through this transition. Fourth, we'll engage with that interim minister or transition specialist starting at the beginning of 2022 to discover our identity and become a mission-focused ministry. We will also work through the selection process to call a new senior minister to Unity of Bellevue. The interim ministers cannot answer those calls. So the transition will be managed by an interim minister, and we will call a new senior minister to Unity of Bellevue. Above all, we know that we will move through a divinely inspired process led by Spirit and actioned by each of us as we are the hands of God. I am so grateful to be a part of this community and to engage with you in this exciting work. Let go and let God. I invite you to join Rev Marla and the rest of the board right after the celebration service for a mini Q&A, where we will answer the questions that we have answers to right now. We'll not have a prayer circle today, but just know that our prayer chaplains are standing in prayer for all of us. Sharon Wolf is your board host this morning and is here to share with you our truth about abundance and the sharing of our gifts with Unity of Bellevue. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Good morning, dearly beloved spiritual community. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, thank you for making the choice to join us today. I hope that you enjoyed a lovely meditation with Lynn, the beautiful music from Christina, and a most powerful message from our dear Reverend Marla. It is said that every person who crosses our path, excuse me, leaves a mark upon it. And indeed, this loving community has been richly blessed by Reverend Marla, and we will continue to be so blessed. Thank you. If you are new to this beautiful, loving unity of Bellevue, welcome. We invite you to visit our website, reach out to us, explore what Unity has to offer in support of your spiritual growth. For those of us who call Unity of Bellevue our spiritual home, one of our spiritual practices is the sharing of our financial treasures. This practice affirms our own abundance. Our offering, our special financial gifts represent a commitment to helping folks awaken to their own spiritual nature and help us to continue to grow this beautiful, vibrant community that we call Unity of Bellevue. The ways of contributing to Unity of Bellevue are identified on your screen. And I would also invite you to be mindful that so many of our employers graciously matched our contributions. And I know that has been the case for me. And so to have my offering matched by my employer has just been a beautiful, beautiful blessing and gift. So we give generously with open hearts to this place where we love, grow, and serve. In this consciousness, I invite you to please join me as we declare our offering affirmation together. I give freely and for the joy of giving. I know that seeds sown in love produce an overflowing harvest of good for me, for this center, and for all people. Lovingly, I give. Joyfully, I receive. And so it is.
And I give thanks for these gifts. I give thanks for the giver, and I give thanks for the great infinite giver in which we have our being, that which supports this ministry, that which supports our spiritual awakening. And I consecrate these gifts to that greater purpose, knowing that we are blessed and that we are a blessing to the world through the gift of our own tithe. I call it all good, and so it is. Amen.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Monica McDowell Elvig. I am your center administrator. If you are visiting with us for the first time, we invite you to walk with us as we transition, as we grow and expand our consciousness together, as we share the dream together of what we as Unity of Bellevue can be. The best way to stay in touch with us right now online is to go to our website. At the bottom of every page is a sign-up form for our weekly e-newsletter that comes out every Thursday morning. It has all the information you need about what's happening at Unity of Bellevue, and our website is at unityofbellevue.org. You can find that there. I've got great announcements today, and the first one is that Reverend Marla and Ken McClellan both have something to share with us.
Some of you may remember a couple years ago, we took all of the pews out of our sanctuary and replaced them with our beautiful new chairs. And although that was the right thing to do, and it really changed the flavor of our environment and updated that and in many ways improved it, it was hard to release those beautiful oak pews, right? And at that time, our beloved Ken McClellan, who is a woodworker, said, why don't I take a pew and make us something out of it? And so Ken has finished that project, and I'm going to invite him to share what that project is. And we're going to have a couple pictures for you as well. So go ahead, Ken.
Sure. Boy, this is an interesting Sunday of changes and transitions, I guess. But yeah, there was, when we made the decision about 5 years ago to replace the pews. And I realized, looking at the list of everybody who's on board, many of you people may not have ever been there when we had pews in the church. So this is what they look like. And we made the decision for lots of good reasons. But the pews were part of the original building when it was built in 1967. So they had been in place for 50 years. And we made the decision to make the change for better comfort, flexibility, et cetera. But there's a lot of emotion attached to the pews because of the history. And so because of that, and also just because of a desire to carry some of that, the old church building forward into the new, we contracted with somebody to remove and take the pews out, but I was able to snag about 3 of them and salvage the wood out of that. And we talked with Marla and company about, what could we do with that would be a carryover of the old pews moving forward. So we decided an altar table would be an appropriate thing to do. And so finally had some time this summer to take some of that wood that I had salvaged out of there and make something different out of it. So we decided on an altar table. And here I finished it a couple of weeks ago, and it's now up in the sanctuary. So that's a picture of it. And just know that that's part of our history in the way of the pews and carrying forward. And hopefully something that's usable and on display.
Thank you, Ken, so much. And let's just give Ken lots of grace and gratitude for undertaking that project. Although we are not quite ready to open our building yet, when we do, that table will be lovingly used and lovingly embraced. And thank you, Ken, for that.
Yes, thanks, Ken. And some more announcements for you. We have a couple of fun things coming up in the near future. We have our Trunk or Treat Halloween. That's an opportunity for us to fill our trunks with goodies on Saturday, October 30th from 5 to 7. It's a way to introduce ourselves to the families in our community, for them to meet us and to meet their children. So if you would like to participate in that fun event, all the links are in the chat and in the comments on Facebook. Sign up to decorate your trunk of your vehicle and show up for a fun family event. If you have any questions or if you'd like to volunteer candy or anything else, you can contact Sabrina. We also have the Pet Blessing coming up. It's coming up in November, the first Sunday of November. If you have pets that you would like to be blessed, send me your pictures. We're going to put a video together and we're going to have an online ceremony with our pets. Also, this week coming up is Living What Matters, 1 p.m. Wednesday. It's a free drop-in group. All are welcome. We'd love to have you for that. Small groups are happening starting next week. So if you haven't yet signed up for a small group, now is the time to do that. And I have a video. We have our 3rd small group leader. These small groups just go for a few weeks. And the 3rd one is Kate Rose. And I have a video to share that Kate put together for us. So here's that video.
Good morning, beloveds. I'm Kate Rose. I am filming this video from the Gambia, as you can see. I'm here today to invite you to my small group. It is called The Eye of the Storm, Finding a Path to Peace. It is based on the book, The Eye of the Storm by Gary Simons. And this group is all about perspective and finding a spiritual perspective in these times of change and what appears to be conflict, what appears to be challenge. This book will give us the tools and the opportunity as a community to grapple with some of the harder topics of life from a spiritual perspective. The group will be meeting on Thursdays from 12:30 to 2. I hope you all can join me, and I look forward to seeing you. Thank you all.
All of the info for signing up is at the link, so look at those 3 options and sign up this week. We also have the Unity Community Connect that Susan referenced this Tuesday at 6:30. It's an opportunity to explore who we are, especially now that we are going to be in transition. So join us this Tuesday night. The Zoom link is in the chat. Have a blessed week, everyone.
Thank you, Monica, for all that great information. Remember, we are going to take just a short little 3-minute break, and then we are going to come back for a Q&A, an off-schedule Q&A, so that you can ask your questions and share whatever you would like to share around the transition that we're talking about today. So thank you for coming. We have one more song from Christina, and then we'll take a 3-minute break, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Christina?
The song feels very pertinent to the message. If I could tell the world just one thing, it would be that we're all okay. And not to worry, 'cause worry is wasteful and useless in times like these. I won't be made useless. I won't be idle with despair. Gather myself around my faith, 'cause light does the darkness most fear. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. And they're not yours, they are my own. And I am never broken. Poverty stole your golden
you gotta do is run it. Turn down the noise, turn up the feel good. We got the choice to make it real good. Do what you can, you know that we could. Turn up the, turn up the, turn up the, turn up the feel good. Turn up the feel good. Like a video game, grab a hold of the controller. Anything that happens, we can fit it in a folder. In which it happens, the reason it can be. We bring the color and we tell it what it means. Make it real, make it bright, tune it in, free and light. Let it feel like a beautiful moment in your life. It's a chance, it's a choice, it's a door, you hold the key. Everything that happens is an opportunity. Turn down the noise, turn up the feel good. We got the choice to make it real good. Do what you can, you know that we could. Turn up the, turn up the, turn up the, turn up the feel good. Turn up the feel good. The choice to make it real good. Do what you can, you know that we could. Turn on the noise, turn up the feel good. We got the choice to make it real good. Do what you can, you know that we could. Like turn on the noise, turn up the clear good. We got the choice to make it real good. Do what you can, you know that we could. Turn up the, 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 turn up the feel good.